Hello, and welcome back to the couch. We saved you a seat. My name is Luke, and today we're going to be chatting about Daredevil, episodes 1 and 2, Daredevil Born Again. We're going to talk about the things we liked, some of the things we didn't like, and just an overall review of the episodes. So here's the deal. The fight scene at the end of episode 2 is my favorite, and I think the greatest comic book moment adapted to screen. And it's got a slight edge now over the restaurant scene in The Dark Knight with the Joker. Just a slight edge. It's so good. And here's why. It's the culmination of everything that's happened before it, including some of the prequel material. It's excellently well shot. The stakes are unbelievably high. And the performances are incredible. It is clear to me that everyone within that circle of people who are working in that production knew exactly what they were trying to do and executed it perfectly for that moment. In service to that moment. Speaking on the performances alone, you've got Matt, played by Charlie Cox, who is torn apart in more than two ways, and you can see it. It's visible. The subtext is there. It's palpable. It's thick, right? And then you've got these two corrupt cops, and it's so topical and so terrifying. And Matt shows up, and he set up this escape route because he's a thoughtful dude, and he gets them out. He gets that guy out of there, who's the only eyewitness and who's scared for his life. And he confronts the cops, and even the cops know it's wrong. They even try to unalive him in an execution style, knowing that it's wrong, and they still do it. Even Charlie Cox's joke of, where did he go? Well, I'm blind. How can I tell you? All of it is pitch perfect. Pitch perfect. That moment right there is number one overall for me for a comic book moment adapted to screen. I hope you understand what I mean. I don't know if this was in the comics at any point. I'm not a comic book reader. What I'm saying is the visual, like the video visual medium. The subtext for all of the characters was there. And the moment where he's saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't make me, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. He's pleading with them. And then he goes on this absolute rampage. And guess what? He liked it. He wasn't doing it out of fear. He wasn't scared. He was punishing them. The word was intentional. He was punishing them. It's pitch perfect. It is pitch perfect. I can't wait for episode 3. There are some other great moments in this show in the first 2 episodes. The opening 10 minutes, while I think it felt a little weird with the CGI and how it looked, and for a hook on a show that's been on hiatus for 7 years, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And if you're a storyteller, you know that I think you know that if you need something to restart a brand or restart something, this is the thing you need to do. So unfortunately, all of this happens. You get to the trial, a bullseye, and thankfully Karen shows up and they have a quick conversation. And you can tell that Matt Murdock is in so much turmoil at that point that he can barely breathe. And he spent his entire adult life hiding his identity to keep this from happening, and then it happens. And then he loses his cool and tries to and essentially makes a decision to unalive somebody. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it didn't work, which makes it kind of worse. So while the editing was a little weird and the CGI was a little wonky, and a lot of people aren't super happy about the decisions that are being made, the impact it has on our main character is intentional and awesome and great. Another thing that I loved about this is the setup of the city. So they do something in this show that they attempt to do in a few other things. More relevantly, it was from like the Batman, Robert Pattinson, where the city itself is a character in the show or in the movie. Um, they're attempting to do this in this show. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, sorry, going back. The heartbeat stuff, very cool. Where you can feel Foggy's heartbeat and he knows what's happening. And yeah, that's just awesome. And he adopts a private eye through this. Pretty cool. But yeah, making the city a character itself through the actions and inactions of both Matt and the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, incredible. It's like one pushes one way, the other is going to push the other way, and they're only barely in line of sight of each other, but they can feel the repercussions. It's pretty cool. It's really, really cool. I like that they're talking about the relationship between Fisk and his wife and how they're trying to make it better. That's awesome. Their team up, should there be a team up in the future, it's going to be great. I actually like her as a character a lot, as actually a foil to Daredevil, to Matt. Also, here's some of the things I don't like. Going back to my previous comment, making the city the character puts a ton of pressure on our primary principal characters, and that it's a little bit, they lay it on a little thick. It's just a little thick. It's not a bad, it's my first like, Matt talks about the city as if he owns it, as if he understands it, as if it's like his thing, his baby. It's a lot, and that's just my personal opinion. It's a lot. I thought the diner scene, while I enjoyed it in the previews, I liked it less in the show. It seemed a little bit weird, like forced. It seemed awkward. There are a group of people who know who Matt Murdock is, who Daredevil is, which is nice, actually. I kind of like the fact that he has to kind of contend with that. But yeah, it's a little bit strange. So some of the Mickey Mouse stuff that they're doing, and I mean that literally and figuratively, the Mickey Mouse Disney kind of stuff, it's kind of on the nose. You can kind of see it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm sure it'll wear on me. It feels like, when in the initial season, the first season of Daredevil, and season 2, which arguably is better than season 1. Season 3 is pretty good too. They're doing art with a fine tipped pen, right? This feels a little bit more like they're doing art with like colored pencils. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's a little, there's a part of it that's a little bit Mickey Mouse. It's a little goofy. It's a little bit loud. Loud's the right word. It feels a little loud, ironically. And then the last part that I don't really like is that, like, Matt will just casually stop in the middle of the street and like use his powers. That's he does it 2 or 3 times, and I remember noticing it, thinking, "What is he doing?" Like, anyway, all in all, though, it's pretty great. Like, outside, I mean, those are extremely nitpicky things. I had a phenomenal time with this first 2 episodes. and the way it ended, and even the music cue going into the credits where it's like he's got this ferocious yell. God, man, that scene is so good. Because they made him do it and he liked it and he hates that he liked it. So good. He's got this ferocious yell. It's really good. And then they hit that like 90s grunge. It's so good. I do like that Matt became a bigger time lawyer and he's working with this woman. Oh yeah. Sorry, I want to go back to this. I also like you said, the push and pull between Fisk and Matt on in their relationship, and them shoehorning a psychiatrist in there, a therapist in there. Also cool. Also super, super, super cool. I'm interested to see where this plot goes, because now there's two like brutalized police officers at this witness's house. And what is Fisk's response going to be in light of his already starting with the anti-vigilante situation? What's his response going to be to the police and to the, I mean, he's going to respond to this with harsher penalties on vigilante actions. It's going to happen. So what happens? How is Matt going to do this? And he's got to have to win this. He's got to win this case on top of all of that. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I got one more gripe and then I'll be done with this. You see the tattoo on the cop's wrist. Like there's some sort of Punisher cult. That's what it reminds me of. I don't know if that's it, but that's what it reminds me of. We saw it, but Matt couldn't have seen it. So what's the point? That seems like a plot point that was missed. Like Matt's not going to be able to be like, hey, I noticed a Punisher tattoo on this guy's inside wrist. Well, like that's a plot point for us. I don't like discovering things before Matt discovers them. And if they just say, oh yeah, he noticed it, it's going to bother me. It's going to bother me a little bit. But if it's something the audience knows that he finds out later, okay, but still, I don't know that I like that. That seems like a mistake. Anyway, listen, that show was awesome. Matt Murdock is in his bag. Charlie Cox is great right now. I can't wait to see episode 2. Drops next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Appointment television. Definitely going to see it. And oh yeah, sorry for the. I'm off site today. I'm shooting from a private location in the South, and so we're going to be shooting some content from here in the next few days. But yes, it was awesome. Please watch it. It's really good. We want more content like this. And if you saw anything that I missed, or if you'd like to continue the conversation in the comments, please let me know. I'm willing to do that. I'd love to have some people on to talk about it, because this show was awesome and it's worth talking about. But until then, thank you for visiting the couch. Know there's always a seat. And until next time, later.